Better get myself ready. Andy Turner, you utter wrong'un. So now I know which Andrew that is. No, I'm not going to elucidate. As ever, for a live, we'll let people get their feet under the table. I've just got to make sure that I can get the camera angle correct. All I ask is, if you are watching and you like what is going on, then please hit the like button, the thummy thing, because it does help seemingly with the algorithm, and I would appreciate it greatly. But we'll give it a couple of minutes. Norman Taylor, good evening. Well, what can you say about the British Bribery Corporation is at it again? Elle, good evening, Adrian. Good evening, Elle. Good to see you. I hope it's not too sweaty wherever you are in the world. Sea Moon Maria. Hello, Adrian. Hello, all. And Patricia Angeles. Evening, all. Theo O'Bovril. Done that and pressed the button. What you been up to? You're on. B. Hi, Adrian. At last. I'm not quite sure who that is. L. Chucking it down here. Here, can you send some over a little bit further north? I can't remember whether you're in Leeds, but a little bit further towards the northeast, because it's a bit of a Betty Swallock day today. Rusty Mouse. Fancy t-shirt tonight then. What? No, we'll keep that framed. Bouncy Castles. Evening, you're wrong, and Adrian. To Matt B. Evening. Graham's, I'm with you. If I can keep up with all this. Stefan, hi, Adrian. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Steph. Phil Sumner, evening, you lovely man. We love you and everything you do. You're smooth talking bar steward. But thank you very kindly. I'll take that. There's loads. Honestly, thank you for all the comments, because I will get to some of them if I can tonight. Rich, good evening, Adrian. Looking forward to this chat. Oh, I bet you are. Kevin Iverson, evening, Adrian. You're wronging from Kev on the Wirral. Oh, I love the Wirral. I do. It's very posh. It's the, well, Southport's where the posh Scousers go, but the Wirral is kind of holiday home-ish, kind of. And I loved presenting on Radio City in Liverpool for a little while. See if I can get this right. Was it 92? Loved it. Liverpool, everything it stood for. Beatles, the Wirrals, very nice. It's very nice. But yeah, Radio City did mid-mornings, afternoons, drive for a while, and then even the Peaceful Hour. Do they still have that? That was a great show to do. Great show. Diane Brooks, oi, Adrian, and all in the chat. Diane, oi. David Bailey, no less. Evening, mate, from Wet Lake District. Oh, it said Hoy down. Sorry, is it hoying it down where you are? Hope you're not in a tent or playing tents, one of the two. Barbara Peep, how are things? Oh, I say, Barbara, do you know young David? Most illuminating. Fair few watchers. If you could hit the thummy thing, if you could like this evening's live, it helps massively, as does the subscriptions. Some interesting things going on with the channel at the moment. I'm not quite sure what the algorithm's up to, but it's definitely up to something. So please, if you can, Anita James, hello, Anita. Hiya, Adrian. Can you just check that you're subscribed? Because I'm sure there is something going on. What was I going to say to you? So the Jacobite. Evening, Adrian. Evening, the Jacobite. L, is the presenter the one that keeps getting mentioned on social media? I don't want to name him, but no. Who knows? But I do know. Tim Miles, evening, Adrian, from the North. Tim, what are you doing in the North Sea? Have you gone off the coast to buy some fags or something? Because they used to do that off Hartlepool, didn't they? There used to be a ship moored out there in international waters. I mean, I'm not sure how far out you've got to go before you get into international waters. But they used to flog cheap booze and fags and stuff, and there used to be little shuttles going out. Oh, you didn't know about that. Sorry. Ian C. Hello from Ian and Joe in thundery Yorkshire. Yorkshire. God's country. And I worked in North Yorkshire for a while, did a lot of, where did I do it? I did Air FM in Leeds, and I did Hallam FM in Sheffield. Where else did I do? I did some of the BBC there as well. So let me just, hello from Sheffield, from Sandra Witham. Hello, Sandra. I just want to sort of, while everybody's getting their feet under the table, I have had to take guidance for this particular live because I know so much. And I know some fabulous stories. I mean, proper fabulous stories. So I've had to work out what I can tell you today. Well, I mean, literally what I can. So I'm going to give it a go. What I've done to Sean, either GN or SM. No? Hang on. No? No. But I will tell you, before we absolutely get into everything, you'll know tomorrow because the presenter's been suspended. So, hello from Herne Bay from Brian. Brian Reardon, you're most welcome, sir. Good to have you on board. Good to have you in the body of the kirk, as they say in Scotland, because it is a broad church, this channel. What was I going to say? I think... it's the presenter. We now know. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get into it, and then I'll be measured, and I'll give you what we call a situation report, which is where we are with everything. What we know, what we don't know, questions that should be asked. I know, Elle, that's what I was thinking. Evening, Ben Johnson. Evening, sir. Evening, Ben. So this is live number 17. Started about 7 o'clock. Good to have everybody here. All those watching, if you could hit the thummy thing, you know, likes and subscriptions help the channel hugely. So if you like, perchance, what we talk about this evening, then just hit it. Next live, it's going to be this Wednesday, June 12th. Now, I'm also going to put another poll up there because I know it's summer, and Theo Bovril, I bet your wife's so happy with you. They're not stories until you tell them. Patience, mon brave, patience. It's a virtue, they say. Because this is going to have to be a dance tonight. Because at the moment, let me give you some insight into how the legal stuff works. Once someone is arrested, technically you can keep going with stuff, but... Oh, Conrad. Good evening, Adrian from a radio. Caroline Anorak. Conrad, good to have you on board. Legally, what happens is when somebody's arrested, and please don't name anyone. Did I say June the 12th? I'm going back in time. Who pointed that out? Paul Carty. Paul, thank you. No, July 12th, this coming Wednesday. So when someone is arrested, that's when most of the media back off. They will report why they've been arrested and what the police are doing, but they won't go into any detail. No. Somebody's saying it's when they're charged, Adrian. No, what I'm saying to you, Rich, is that when someone is arrested, that's when I back off, because I haven't been done for sub judice. I have tried to explain it in other videos, but I know other radio stations and other people, personal friends of mine, that have had to go in front of the judge and go, I'm really sorry, Your Honour, and nearly ended up in jail. So when they're charged, I just leave it all alone. It's a safety measure for myself personally, but normally, yes, you are correct. The printed media will continue with stuff. Philip Schofield and ITV will be delighted with this. Maybe not. So when they're charged is correct, Rich. Thank you for that. So I am going to have to do a bit of a dance, but I promise you, the story that I'm going to tell you is going to make your hair curl. It might make you switch this off. It is so disgusting and awful and grubby that actually you might not be able to stomach it. But it is about a former BBC presenter that I know the details of. I know the man. I've known him for a long time, nearly 40 years, but he was caught out at the BBC, and no, it's not Gordon the Gopher. And I'm going to tell it in a little while, but I promise you, the language that I am going to attempt to use, the algorithm might not like it, so I'm never going to be able to monetize this, ever. But it's sufficient, because it turned my stomach, and it is sufficient for you to pull faces at whatever you're watching it, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your computer, or whether it's on your TV. So, the next live number 18, this coming Wednesday, July the 12th. And I'm going to run a poll, because I was going to do this live at 8 o'clock tonight, because I'm looking at how many views we get and who can be here and whether the regulars can make it. So tonight at 7 o'clock, we may make it 8 o'clock on Wednesday, but I just want to see where the lives sit more appropriately. So we'll do it at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. If there's any change, then I will let you know, I promise you. So I want to ask you a question as we get into this, and Julie Handley, hello Adrian, hello Julie, to Daffy Blue Stripes, hiya, hiya Daffy, Sean, Mr. Blobby, a man wanting to dress up in latex, isn't that Frank Boff? Who is not on the, not Fiona, very good, who is on the not on me movement, or not me movement. So, are we interested in this? Rich, thank you for establishing that. It's not Rich either. Hands up those that it's not. I'll be on all night reading those out. Are we kind of engaged by this? Because I know that there's a distraction afoot. I know. And I'm going to get into that later, because I want to sort of create an environment where we can speak freely and honestly, and not get our tushes felt, if that makes any. Adrian, have you ever worked with James Whale? Les, no. He was a friend on Facebook for a while, and I know James is really struggling at the moment. But no, I was a listener though in the northeast of England, and I listened to his night owls for quite a while. Patricia says, I can't wait till Wednesday. I need to know the gossip now. Patricia, you're going to hear it tonight. Seamoon Maria, no Adrian, but I love you, so I'm staying. Thank you, Seamoon. I promise you, it's hair curling. Even my friends are like, Adrian, you're not going to do that one, are you? Oh, yes. Sierra Charlie Alpha Tango. I know if you're intelligent enough, I know you know what I've just said. It might make a few people switch off, but it's a former BBC presenter. Organising Sierra Echo X-ray parties. So are we interested in this? Will tomorrow's newspapers name this presenter? I don't think so. My reason for this is the presenter might actually be innocent, and this might be a blackmail plot. I don't know, but me being a cynical old tart, as I keep telling you, I don't always take things at face value. So it could be a blackmail plot. I know that the mum has come out and said, oh, what have I done with it? The mum's come out and said that we don't want any money for the story. Could be. But the newspapers won't print anybody's name. They will print people who've gone, it wasn't me. So you've got James Vine. Sorry. You have some very unusual suspects in this, because it was all set up by the newspapers. And then, I don't know whether you were looking at Twitter yesterday, but Twitter was alive with it. Yeah, Jeremy Vine says, it ain't me. Nikki Campbell says, it's not me. And we need to look at this because people are saying things online, on social media, that they really shouldn't be speculating or saying. Oh, Patricia, thank you. I'm intrigued. Currently have my daughter here from London. I'm introducing her to Adrian. Evening, Patricia's daughter. And then you had Gordon the Gopher's come out and said, it's not me. Then you've got Rylan. I'm filming for the BBC in Italy. Rylan said, it's not me. And then you've got, who was it? Rylan, Jeremy, Gordon the Gopher, Nicky Campbell, and Gary Lineker said, it wasn't me. So they've all had to come out and deny it. And if you don't have, Twitter, exactly. But now Rylan and Gary Lineker are taking defamation action against those people on Twitter, quite rightly. Because it really is, people say, oh, you're this and you're that and the other. You can't say that unless you have the proof, which is why I started this particular live by saying we have to be careful with what I say and what you say in the comments tonight. So please be very measured in any names that you put forward. Give your reasons and your source, because quite rightly, people's reputation is being affected. Why would the parent go to the papers and not the police if anything was done illegally? I'm going to get to that, because there are certain things that are illegal that have happened here. Nookie Bear wouldn't. Nookie Bear, thank you. Nookie Bear wouldn't give a statement on it. Seemingly. What, 50 years with her? No, don't even go there, Adrian, because you know you'll just get into trouble again. Well, he's had a man's fist up his ass for 50 years. Is it because it's publicly funded? I want to know whether we're going from like the Scove scandal, which there's still more to come out. There is. And hopefully I'll get to tackle it soon. Julie Handley. Hello, Julie. Piers Morgan said, we'll all be shocked who it is. Yeah, I agree with you, Elle. Absolutely. Pink Roses. Be gentle. Because we can't even allude to it. So I'm not going to read that out. Are we interested in this story simply because we've come off the back of Scove and his little pied-à-terre and his chicken? I'm not doing choking chicken gags. So we come off the back of the Schofield scandal and we have an appetite for it. No, Andy, no. Stop naming names, please. Because it will get you into trouble, not me. Well, David, I'm going to get into a whole load of names and what I know about those names, about radio presenters that I know. And I'm going to name them. Have I told you Simon Bates fondled my bollocks? Possibly not, but that's what I was going to call my biography. Told you that before. I was bending over a desk in Liberty 963. And that's the truth. Not even an opinion. It is the truth. He took me to a restaurant. Because obviously, I could have gone to the cops. I didn't. I just threatened to rip his arms off and shove the soggy ends up his arse. I want to know whether it's because it's the BBC and publicly funded. Because it's really easy to knock the BBC. Now, so far, all we know, all you know, hang on, what's that? I'll tackle that. That'll take me off topic, GB, but I will tackle that at some point in the future. So, the BBC, it's a really easy target. It's low-hanging fruit. It's really easy to knock them. But sometimes they really do need to be told, oi, you're utter wrong-uns, sort it. Now, what you know is that it's a presenter. I agree, Pink Roses. I'm going to focus on what I need to say now because you're just distracting me. You're wrong-uns. Now, the BBC, when I was part of it, had 27 or 29,000 employees. Orville the Duck's an orphan now, E&C. So 29,000 people, you're going to have some bad apples, you're going to have some wrong-uns in there. But it seems that the BBC stuck between a rock and a hard place here. The mother went to the BBC May 19th, and we're not sure whether the BBC did anything about it. But I can tell you this for fact. I had an issue when I was with the BBC. I had an issue with a particular person, and the BBC were fabulous. This person was just getting unnecessary, inappropriate, and I'm desperately trying to work out what I can say and what I can't. But all I will say is that they protected me and they were fabulous. And this person then went off, scuttled off into whatever planet they live on, and was heard no more. And I was there for a little while longer, but they were fabulous. So I can say that in some cases, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. Man is proven innocent until guilty. So you've got that from the BBC trying to do the right thing, because if they do one thing, they're going to get lambasted from politicians and from other organisations, which they do all the time, as in get lambasted. And then if they don't, if they do something, they get lambasted. If they don't do something, they get lambasted. So who would want to be in their place? But I will say this: I want to know from you. Is it because the BBC is publicly funded that you're not very happy with them? And when Savile died, my Facebook was full of people saying, "Oh, Jimmy, he was a great man." I'm not even going to give you a clue, because it's all going to come out in the next 24, 48 hours. They're all saying, "Oh, he was a wonderful man, he was a legend, he was a genius, he was this, that, and the other." And I was like, don't you know the guy? Look, I met Savile on a couple of occasions. I wasn't to his taste. I was probably too heterosexual and too old, and he couldn't really do anything because I just would have sparked him out. So, and I'm not a violent man by any stretch of the imagination, but like, no. But the creepiness, when you're in the same room, you just know instinctively, you know. And I knew, I'd heard the stories. But thankfully, for my own sanity, Savile didn't do anything to me, but he did to hundreds and hundreds of others. But initially, nobody believed them. Nobody believed them when they went to the authorities and said, Jimmy Savile's raped me, abused me, done this. Nobody believed them. So others didn't come forward. But my Facebook newsfeed was full of people defending the indefensible. And yet today, there's a lot of people not defending anyone. Yeah, like Glitter. Well, I mean, he's been let off again today. And there was one name that came out yesterday, because it was, I don't know whether you were watching the social media reportage, the news cycle as it was going yesterday, but it went insane. I mean, it just went nuclear immediately. And people started naming names. And I was like, whoa, hang on, where have they got the proof? What's the source? Where's the proof? Now, I can relate to you my lived experiences. I can relate to you the stuff that I know because I was there and saw it with ease. But these people were like, oh, it's so-and-so, it's so-and-so, and so-and-so. And at one point, there was one name that was trending at number one. And I was thinking, no, that can't be. Am I? Thank you, Graham. And I just, there was a real sick feeling at the pit of my stomach thinking, have I got that person wrong? But it was a guessing game. Thank you, Will. It was a guessing game at that point. And then what I noticed was Twitter then didn't have that name trending. And then the name came back again. And I was like, hang on, there's something going on here. Maybe that person has consulted lawyers. And it came back trending to number one. And I was thinking, hang on, is there something going on with my phone? Is there something going on with my computer? What? And I was just sort of, initially, I was alerted by somebody else who said, have a look at this, Adrian. And I was thinking, oh, there's stuff wrong with my equipment. Stop writing your own gags, you wrong 'un. And this one name, all of a sudden, Doug, the convicted stalker, his fans were clapping their hands. And I just thought, you can't, without proof, you can't start clapping your hands and you can't start saying that person is guilty, because they weren't and will be proven not to be. But do you know, there was a load of people, and I am so glad that those people that were named yesterday erroneously are now deciding to sue those people that named them, because the same laws apply online as they do on the ground in this country. It's only called cyber enabled, but yeah, those who do wrong hate social media and the internet, as they will be outed in the end. GB Patriot, thank you for that. Nick Hatton, I knew AB's fans would be all over that one name. Pleased he came out and shut it down. Me too. Me too. Because it's, you think you're safe at home just typing away either on your phone, whether it be in your living room, whether your bedroom. I hate to think about you being in your bedroom while you're watching me, and maybe in your, if you have an office or a garden or wherever. You can't say these things. So I do, somebody earlier in the chat did say that, will they shut all of this down with the new bill going through Parliament and the Lords? There is every chance. Now, this could be a setup, a distraction and a setup so that they have greater control of you and what you post on social media. It's been going on for a while. Now, just as a little aside, because I will get back into this this BBC presenter, I noticed that a load of people have been saying, threads, oh, there's tens of millions on threads. Right, I'll just give you this one pointer. The owner is the same guy that used another of his platforms and shut everybody's opinion down during one of the most important times in humankind's history, the last 3 years. And he was fact checkers, and at the time, people were going into the social media jail, and they couldn't post. And your opinion, if you didn't adhere to the narrative, you were stuffed, and you couldn't have an opinion on anything. And even doctors with years and years and years of experience and professional expertise, they were still blocked. So threads, you think you're going to be able to speak the truth on there? Give your head a wobble. So anyway, back to this BBC presenter. There's two... no, I can't go there for legal reasons. I really can't. Matty PW, lots of the posts yesterday were linked to, yeah, and a video that, yeah. Oh! Well, you know, there are foolish people who think that this is freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want. Article 10 of the European Human Rights Act, or the Human Rights Act in this country. You can't. You can't. So people that have been posting willy-nilly because they think they can, well, I do hope these stars just have a little redress with these people. I do know that first it was Dr. Fox. Then it was the Silver Fox. And now it could be the Puppet Fox. Poor Basil. But I just know that yesterday one of the hashtags was BBC Nonce. I just find that funny. Because look, people are sick and tired to their back teeth of having to deal with this shoved in their face. We want the errant characters. We want the wrong uns dealt with. We don't want reputational management companies coming in and dealing with it all. We don't want the management companies making sure that their cash cow stay in place. Look, it's showbiz. I get it. I completely get it. So I do hope these stars sue. You can't name people because you think it's them. You can only, defamation, there are 3 defences to defamation. Fact, truth, honest opinion, which would kind of be a professional opinion, and in the public interest. So naming somebody yesterday and or today, for that matter, it's not in the public interest because you are ruining someone's good name and a professional reputation. So the person I think it is, the person I know it is not trending and has not been named. Norman, is there an air show going on over there? No, it's just me mates coming in for a few beers later on. So what do we know? What do we know so far? We know that the BBC suspends presenter accused of paying a teenager for explicit photographs. BBC are working, and I quote, are working as quickly as possible to establish the facts into these allegations. I know that the Met Police at 18:21 today, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the Met Police confirmed that the BBC did contact them. They have confirmed the BBC's initial contact. And I quote from the Met, no formal allegation or referral has been made. None. We will require additional information before determining what further action should follow. So as it stands, as shocking as this may be, there is no police action, but they are on alert, sort of, and are aware that more could be coming. The BBC Director General, Tim Davie, emailed staff today and said he was taking the allegations incredibly seriously. Tim Davie said, situation was complex. What do you make of that? The situation is complex. So is it allegation and counter-allegation? As I say, what would be the BBC presenter's deniability or defence? It could simply be, I was being blackmailed. I had to cough up money all the time. I was being blackmailed. So then the tables turn. So can you see that unless you know the actual facts of the case, if you say anything and it turns out to be not true, you are responsible for your own words and actions? And Andy Turner said, like they did with Savile. Well, I will say, like I said, the BBC's low-hanging fruit. Who said that? David Buckley. Adrian, do you think the Sun will name him? Is it publish and be damned? But I think everyone in the media is treading very carefully because you out someone. Can you remember? Oh, this is a story maybe 20 odd years ago. There was some kind of murder down in Bristol. And the news media decamped on some area in Bristol, around that area, southwest. And this guy, just because he looked a bit odd and wasn't, you know, your average guy on the street, and the news media, printed media, said, Tim! And the guy was wholly innocent, but he just wanted to go away. He didn't want to take on the press, but he could have had defamation suit after defamation suit after defamation suit to all of the newspapers. He could have made millions. But that's not good enough when the whole of society is thinking that you are the murderer, you're suspect number one, when in actual fact you're wholly innocent. And somebody's mentioned Matthew Wright. I've told you the story about, yes, I remember Matthew Wright and John Leslie. I remember the whole story because in one of my other videos, I'm sure I told you, that some guy called Jonathan Sashadoshi from this production company who made the Matthew Wright program got in touch with me via email. Can we chat? And I just said, who are you? Oh, look, I'm an irascible old tart sometimes. And you know, as you get older, most guys will tell you, you can be a bit grumpy. So I just said, who are you? What do you want? And yeah, look, I know most of the connected people in London will know that have worked it out because it doesn't take much. You just need a radio presenter and a TV presenter. And he's not necessarily, is he on? No, don't stop. You're going to get me into trouble. So this Jonathan guy contacts me and says, "Oh, come down to London." I was living in Nottingham at the time. "Come down to London, do a screen test." I did a screen test, and they were really happy with what I did for them. And they said, "I'll deal with that in a second, El." And I came away, and he said, "Look, leave it with us. This is all dependent on, because John and Matthew had the same agents." And Jonathan said, "Look, it's all down to whether John sues Matthew for outing his name." And John was wholly innocent. Wholly innocent. So it didn't turn out that way. John didn't sue him. So Matthew was able to stay in his role. And Matthew doesn't even know this. But, you know, he's a former editor, journo. He knows the game. He knows that the production company will have made sure that they could keep going and they could keep their money coming in. But the John Leslie, Matthew Wright, John was wholly innocent. And I holidayed with John I did a press trip with him to Miami once. And I know him I was on the radio doing soul and funk and stuff in the 80s. And John was working in one of the nightclubs in Newcastle. So I've known John a long, long time. So we know who it is not, because some of the stars have come out and said, "It's not me." So Jeremy Vine, "It ain't me." Rylan, "It ain't me." Gary Lineker, "It ain't me." Nicky Campbell's had to come out. "It wasn't me." So is it the speculation that's driving this story? You're interested in this story. Is it the speculation that's driving it, thereby keeping other stories out of your radar? Yes, thank you, Spudbin. Thank you for that. The guy that I was talking about down in the southwest, he was the girl's landlord, and he was pulled through the mud, but he had nothing to do with it. Thank you, Spudbin. Yeah, innocence because they look guilty. What exactly does that mean? I mean, look, face for radio, but as much as you try and live a straight up and down life. So I'm going to ask you one question. Do you think there's going to be more victims? I mean, we're looking at Scove, and there's other stuff coming out about Scove. I can't do it here because we haven't got time, but I'll have to do another video about it. But and then Penny Bunny, go and check Penny Bunny's channel out, because she's tenacious. I mean, tenacious has got to be Penny's middle name. She's got stuff left, right, and centre, but I've got other stuff that I'm going to do. But go and check Penny Bunny out. She's tenacity, her middle name. Rylan and Gary Lineker, they're suing defamation, and they're going to donate the money to charity. So some of the questions I want to ask the BBC. What process did you start when you were contacted by the mother May 19th? Because that's an important date. Paulie Galtieri. Not that simple, Paulie, but hell, are you talking Epstein's list? That's another video. So the mum contacted the BBC May 19th and said, "Look, will you just get him to stop? Get him to stop sending money." But we don't know whether there was blackmail afoot here. Whether she was saying, "Yeah, Rich, I'm gonna get to that in a second." We don't know whether she's saying, "Oh, give us another 500 quid. Give us another grand. Give us some more money. I need some more money." We don't know. But again, she may be wholly innocent. How many times did the BBC recontact the family about their complaint? How hard did they try to support the family and deal with the wrong one? It's a very important question. Has the presenter, question 3, has the presenter been made aware of the complaint prior to this week? Did he know before it hit the press? When was the presenter first spoken about this? And what exactly are the BBC investigating? And what have the BBC passed to the police? They are fair, legitimate questions. Journalistic questions. Bit of an irony with the BBC. Over Graham, over £30,000 for photos. Must be more to it. That's part of my rationale, because he's just kept shoving good money after bad. Why would you do that? But again, all we are doing is speculating, because we don't know some of the facts and the truth. So that's why I'm asking these questions, to be more balanced. When did the presenter last transfer money, and why? Because there must be some sort of interaction. Is there an intermediary that's just saying to the presenter, cough, otherwise we're going to the police, or cough, or we're going to go to the BBC? That would be really simple. But again, both parties innocent until proven guilty. I am merely speculating, and it's probably best not to at this juncture. Was BBC equipment used in any of the interactions between the male presenter and anybody else that he had contact with? And the most important one, when will you name him? But I think that's a while away. So as I can't remember who said this. Somebody said, very wisely, the Protection of Children's Act in 1978. Now, the Protection of Children's Act, 1978, law states it is a crime to take, make, share, and more importantly, possess adult images of people under 18. The maximum sentence is 10 years. And a person of under the age of 18 cannot give their consent to the images being taken. But it's really problematic, where if the person is taking their own image, then there is a defence there with that law. The Protection of Children's Act 1978. She's taking them herself and then passing them to him. So what we know is that over the next 24 to 48 hours, this story will run out of steam if a person is charged or other things come out, or there is deniability for the male presenter. And until that person is charged, they should not be named, because there's been a ruination of a man who a finger has been pointed about many things, and they've been wholly innocent, and their reputation and their lives have been ruined. So we shouldn't do anything. And the male presenter's name should be maintained as innocent until there is proof. And if it's proof of illegality, then the police should deal with it appropriately and proportionately. And if it's not, then I've no idea. Freddie Starr, for example, enemy of the state. I'm not too sure, because you've been commenting so quickly, and your verbosity, I haven't been able to keep up with it. So what you want to know is you want the stories. Yeah, Jim Davison was another one. I've had conversations today with friends in the industry, and they're sort of giving me names, and I'm like, no, I don't think it's them, because this is what we know. And it's this speculation that everybody's trying to guess right. But what we're dealing with is someone's reputation here. We're dealing with someone's livelihood. And if they're innocent, they should maintain and stay innocent. But I'm going to tell you, if I've got time, I will try and tell you a couple of stories before we kind of widen it up and go into other things. Now, a long time ago, I was working for, I'm not going to name any names, and I'm not going to name any radio stations, but I know this to be true. simply because I've got too many witnesses. And the thing at the BBC was so wild. I mean, wild. No, it's not GNL. No. I mean, so I'll get back to that in a second. So this is what I don't understand. Look, some people in the public eye, their sexuality is so obvious. My gaydar pings, it's so obvious. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully, but like Schofield, I knew he was gay in the 80s. It was more shocking to me that he got married and had kids. I couldn't work out how that happened. And like, some people have named Graham Norton. Don't you get it? It's a male presenter that's wanting adult pictures of a female. Not Graham. It's absolutely not Graham. And how could it be Rylan? He's married to a guy. So this is the blow your hats off. And big Dale in the house. Evening, Dale. Good to see you. Could make it for 10 minutes. So without being distracted by any wrong-uns, I'm going to give you a linear tale that took about, blimey, 18, 20 years maybe. But it's a long tale. So anyway, this, and I'm not naming, I've said this before, I'm not naming names and I'm not naming locations. But, you know, the BBC investigated this and he was sling your hook, you pervert. So this guy arrives at this radio station that I'm working at, and seemingly he's being caught importing adult material on video. He was caught at the borders, and so he gets caught, tries to get through customs, and they pull him to one side and say, "What's in your case, sir?" He said, music videos. And they said, "Oh, do you mind if we have a look?" No, go ahead. So they opened his case. God blimey, hundreds of videos. They're music videos, said the customs men, women. And they go and have a look at a video. And one video, and they come back and said, "Sir, do you want to come this way?" And he's like, "Yeah, why?" "Well, just come with us." So he was caught and tried and fined, I think. I don't think he did any jail time. But it was importing, like, really, really naughty stuff. And he got caught. So he comes up to this radio station. And someone at the radio station, again, I'm not going to name them or name their position within the station, said to the lads, "Right, this is a deal. If we get no press coverage, if nothing happens, he can stay, because he's a good one." And there was no, because it wasn't in the area that I was working at. Nothing. The local media weren't interested. They didn't, so he stayed. Really, really nice guy. Really nice guy. So I then go off, and David Buckley, how do I think this will end? Good question. Let me get to that in a second. So I want to tell you this story because it's proper. Oi, oi, oi. So he I don't know where he went. He disappeared off. I think he tried to go back to the original station that he came from, but he just went off. And radio industry is such a small industry. Everybody knows everybody, or if they don't, they kind of know someone who does. You're only, what's the truism? You're only 3 handshakes away from anybody in the world. I've shook Brian Clough's hand. So he's shook hands with the Queen. So I was only 1 handshake away from the Queen, Charles, Muhammad Ali, Frank Sinatra. So he kind of goes off, and I go off and I work elsewhere. And then in the... there is more to the story, but I can't, for legal reasons, tell you. Because it's... Anyway, so... no, he succeeded. I love the 42 days that Brian Clough was in charge of Leeds. Yeah, you can chuck all your medals in the bin. You cheated to win them. What a boy. So this presenter, I go off and I do my thing and I go elsewhere. And then I'm kind of talking to mutual friends in the industry and I say, oh, I see you've got so-and-so there. And they went, oh, yeah. And literally within 2 or 3 days, he left the building and forgot to log off from the BBC computers. Oh, schoolboy error. I mean, he was doing proper illegal stuff. And my friends, so he used a pseudonym. And basically what he was doing, he was organising adult parties. That's as much as I can go and say. But Sierra Charlie Alpha Tango. He was organising those kind of parties, and if you don't know what that is, please Google it. I can't elaborate anymore. So he was organising these parties in hotels that people would pay to go to. Now I'm not sure whether that's illegal in itself. Well, maybe it was, but he was dealing with the Sierra Charlie Alpha Tango, Queen of Europe, and he was inviting her as a guest, and everybody would, euphemistically say, dance with her. But it wasn't just dance with her. They had to sign. They had to sign papers because it was in a hotel. It was. It was being filmed and then distributed. So they wore masks if they didn't want to be identified, and if they didn't care, they were just filmed and then it was just distributed. And seemingly this female from Europe said, yeah, it's good to eat Battenberg cake sort of 24 hours before. And I said to my mates, what would you need to eat a large Battenberg cake for 24 hours before? And they said, because seemingly it makes it smell nicer. The doo-doo. Yeah, the doo-doo. Battenberg cake. Yeah, the Battenberg cake. So he left all of the negotiations with this queen in Europe. I don't mean royal queen. I mean the number one star of these types of films in Europe. They invited her across. She was only costing about 3,500 euros, I think. And all these guys. And one of the guys in the video said to this presenter, and I'm having to be very careful because his name's just going to trip off my tongue. Said to him, "Oh, look, I've had a bit of an operation, and I've got a tap where I do my thing through. Will she be okay if I just open this tap?" And his presenter said, "Well, yeah, she's fine. 3.5 grand. Yeah, she's fine." So about 3 or 4 days later, BBC security appear and just take them to one side and go, "Look, mate, we've got this. You've sent these emails on BBC computers. You're arranging this on BBC computers. So we're just going to escort you to the door." Now that went on. Nobody knew. It never made the press. BBC Battenberg cake. That is, honestly, Norman, I am literally going to laugh out loud at that later when I finish this live. Because, and I have witnesses. I have people that I think have copies of the emails. They know his pseudonym, his nom de plume, for what he did in these hotels. But I mean, I'm not easily shocked by stuff and life and what human beings do. And look, if it's consensual and it's behind closed doors, fine. Just don't use BBC computers to arrange it, because they are just going to go, leave. And so there's other stuff that I can tell you that I can't tell you after that, because, just honestly, legally, it's a pretty. I mean, that in itself is pretty wild. But I will say that he went to another radio station, and he was looking at dodgy stuff on the computers while he was on air, while he was presenting his radio show. And same guy didn't get the hint after the BBC had gone, wait, Foxtrot Oscar. He just didn't get it. I mean, maybe it was an addiction or something, or maybe he just wasn't. Well, I knew his missus as well, and she was lovely. Hang on. Norman Taylor's saying, I'm sweating laughing. I know I shouldn't. Well, you should, because I think it's really funny, but it's absolutely disgusting. Yeah, so he goes to another radio station, and I think he's still working in radio somewhere. Not a big station, but I think he's still working. And he's on the video, he's on the computer in the studio, and the big boss, Paulie, stop it, you're wrong. The big boss comes downstairs, and as he walks into the studio, this presenter's looking at the unnecessary stuff on the computer screen, like proper, adults getting friendly sort of material. And the boss goes, oh, team. He told her that. People will know who it is now, the big boss. Team, what you doing, man? Oh, I'm just Googling something. Oh, I don't know what these are. Oh, I don't know how they came there. Oh, I've no idea. I must have just pressed the wrong button. I'll see you in my office as soon as you've finished. So as soon as he's finished the show, we scuttled upstairs. What are you doing, man? What are you doing, man? And he just said, oh, I pressed the wrong button. He said, no, you didn't. I've had the engineers look at what you were doing. I know exactly what you were doing. So, sling your hook. So there are people within... GB Patriot, maybe he was looking at tractors. Yeah, they leave the same kind of marks. I'll wait till you've stopped laughing. So I will think of, and I will have to talk to some of my friends in the industry, because there's still loads of stories. I mean, this is it's comedy gold. It's an opening that we really. The Saints number one. Oh, hello, you're wrong. Hello, Saints number one. But I will sort of put this on your radar just to sort of round off. And please, if you can, before we end in a few minutes, please just hit the likes. It helps the channel massively. I'm going to ask you a question. I saw a bit of reportage in the news media. What day is it? 2 days. Yesterday. And it's all about Alison Hammond distancing herself from Dermot O'Leary. And I thought to myself, why would Alison, who's been working with Dermot all this time, and they've been working on their own shows as well as part of This Morning, why would she start distancing herself? Now, I understand. Mr. John Up, you're wrong. Yeah, we needed to win that test match, otherwise nobody would be watching for the last two. So Alison is, and I'll find this bit of reportage and put it up in a video for you. She's distancing herself from Dermot O'Leary. Why? Because they're coming to the end of their run and then breaking for summer, and then they'll come back in September. I've already made this prediction that This Morning will be rearranged, reversioned, and Norman, you're missing. Norman, I can't. Look, I'm just asking a question. It's up to you. And I give you a line and you literally run with it for a mile. Sean, he farts a lot. GB Patriot, don't you mean Dermot O'Dreary? Norman Taylor, bad breath after a curry. You utter wrong-uns. But I thought they were a shoo-in. Oh, Joe S., thank you for that. The girl that was murdered was called Joe Yates. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and the guy that the press had as guilty as charged was wholly innocent. Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate that. And I just want to, there's two more things that I want to get to. I might have to run over for this particular live. Paul, I can't name and shame because I can't. Because I know those that are wholly innocent are now, so now there are innocent people who are having their good name sullied. So I have to be very careful. I know what I know, and I know more than I'm letting on, but I can't bring it here. Because what then will happen is the news media will go, like Matthew Wright and John Leslie. Matthew Wright, let it go, live on air. And then, hang on, I just need to calibrate this in my head. So, Tower Block Tracy, is that now? I want to talk to you about two things. One, George Osborne, you know, the politician, kind of disappeared. That guy that was. Well, I saw the footage, and he was grinding his teeth in the Houses of Parliament on the front benches, grinding his teeth. Now, which drug would make him do that? Just asking for a friend. So he got married a couple of days ago, and here's the way it works. So George Osborne gets married, and literally him getting married, it's a non-story. So George Osborne, his wedding, his nuptials, front page of all the newspapers. Why? Because seemingly somebody from Stop Oil, a protester, threw orange confetti at him. And that makes him front page news, because Stop Oil protesters, one, a granny in comfortable shoes, just chucked some orange confetti at him. What stories are they trying to cover up? What are they covering up? Because there's something else going on that we're not getting to. Categorically. And George Osborne's wedding is front page news on all of the newspapers. As a wise man in the Northeast once said, Hathaway and Shiteman. And you've got this, they have to be very careful. But Tess Daly, I'm going to talk strictly here. Tess Daly is managed by YMU. Holly Willoughby, Frankie Gans to Hollywood. Holly Willoughby, we used to be managed by YMU, the same management company, and is now has her own. But the story is that Tess is a bit down about, because she's about to be bumped for Holly, or maybe a straight swap. So it's kind of this false narrative. I'm hoping that Darcy Bussell and Anton de Beck take over as the lead roles. But Holly and Tess, seemingly good friends, fallen out over Holly wanting to do Strictly Come Dancing. Now, I've already said to you, I think if Holly is saying that, or it's coming out of Holly's camp, then it's just pay rise negotiation. Well, if you don't pay me what I want, then I'm going to go to the BBC and do Strictly. And Tess Daly, I think she's just on a yearly contract. It might be that YMU are still not happy with Holly and just making Holly out to be a bit of a bully. Who knows? But that needs to be on your radar. Just watch the news media, the news cycle over the next few days. Yeah, I think it's MDMA or E that possibly that causes that. I just would like to say congratulations to Novak Djokovic, one of the very few tennis players that didn't take the Widowmaker, refused to take the Widowmaker, even though he couldn't get into certain countries to play tennis. Refused to take it. That's the kind of integrity we need around us. And he's won Wimbledon again for the fourth year straight. Nick Kyrgios, if that's how you pronounce it, lost the first set 4-6, 6-3, 6-4, 7-6, tiebreaker 7-3. So congratulations. He refused the jibber jabber on principle and integrity and said, I'm not putting anything in my body that I am not aware of and what it contains. What a boy. What a boy. That's the kind of leader we need amongst us. French riots, keep an eye on them. I've got more about that tomorrow. But the French riots, it's the Olympics next year. So what are they going to want to do in France ahead of the Olympics in a year's time, 12 months' time? Is that why? If you... Sam Smith, I mean, So today, when we've got this BBC presenter thing ongoing and everybody's speculating, and it's the main news story that everybody's attracted to, Sam Smith, they're saying, oh, Sam Smith's on the new Barbie soundtrack. How do we hear, man? On you go. Quickly. And if you're looking for something to watch, if it's apart from obviously the theatre of the mind, I heard Macron might be getting arrested. Oh, it's getting tasty in France. I am aware of things that, look, I've overrun by 6-7 minutes. You could keep me here all night and I'll keep going. Somebody may have to throw food at me. Okay. So Sam Smith, oh, please, just leave us alone, Sam. Just be happy and live life, please. We're not interested in controversy because we know that controversy sells, and all you're trying to do is get column inches and have people aware that you've got a new song out. I won't be watching Barbie, mate, because I'm not that pink or young. Sam Smith is everything that's wrong with this country, says Hell. Can't disagree with that. What was I going to tell you? Yeah, something really... If you're roughly the same age as me, and I think a lot of the people that watch the channel are, there's a really gentle, lovely Netflix documentary about Wham! George Michael and Andrew originally. Now, in the initial days of Wham, I was, yeah, okay, got it. I was working in the clubs and I was working on the radio. But it's 40 years since their debut album, Fantastic, was released. Now, I don't mean to age you prematurely, but 40 years is 40 years, and I can remember it as if it was yesterday. But my favourite George Michael song, favourite by a country mile, and he's made some great pieces of music, Cowboys and Angels. It's just sublime. It is perfection. So as George got older, he just became a beautiful artist. I mean, a real deep... In the beginning, I used to read in every week, I would pick up Sounds, Enemy, Melody Maker, and Record Mirror. I'd buy them every week. Yeah, Father Figure was a great song. I would buy them every week and read them cover to cover. I was a huge music anorak. I wanted to get into radio. I thought that knowing everything about music would get me into radio. And George was doing his pop stuff early doors. He did Live Aid. And at Live Aid, everybody was like, whoa, hang on, this boy can sing. Freddie Mercury had an amazing voice, but Jesus to a child. Yeah, I agree, Rich. And he got everybody's attention at Live Aid. But for me, Cowboys and Angels, it's literally, even listening to it in my head while I'm talking to you, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. It is that beautiful. It is that perfect. It is just, well, as P.T. Ham remembers Club Tropicana, that was done before everybody went Balearic. And I was at the forefront. Even Paul Oakenfold was an old mate of mine. One of the top boys in Ibiza. Originally, I knew him as a promo guy for Champion Records. Champion! So I'm going to round everything off. I've still got lots and lots of stuff that I could talk about. Please, could I ask you to hit the like, hit the subscription if it's suddenly disappeared. No, I can't tell you. Do you know, you are just the worst distraction. You make me do naughty things. You make me say things that I know I really shouldn't say. Like, no, my favourite George Michael gag. I can't have been so respectful to him and about his music and his talent and his voice, and he's sorely missed, sadly missed. I do have, what's the difference between George Michael and a Wellington boot? They both get sucked off in bogs. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but please ding the bell if you can. And the next live is this coming Wednesday. honestly, I'm going to get into trouble. Just you encourage me. So see you on Wednesday. We'll make it. Tell you what, we'll make it Wednesday. We'll make it 8 o'clock on Wednesday, so I can see whether that's a more appropriate time for you, whether it's easier, whether you've got kids or not, or you and the missus or you and the husband want to just have a bite to eat. Maybe you're elsewhere in the world and there's a bit of a time delay. So I will make it 8 o'clock to see how you turn up and how we go on Wednesday. Thank you for being here. Really enjoyed it. I hope this has enlightened you a little bit. There are other BBC presenter stories that I've got, but I literally have to take guidance on them because some of them... I tell you what, I'll leave you with this. For those that have stayed here and haven't switched off immediately, I'm going to leave you with this. There is a BBC station that won't be named, but you might be able to Google this and find it. There was a couple. Would I say swingers? But he liked to watch her with other people, except he would hide behind a tree. She would go off into a field and have her wicked way with a 17-year-old. Underage, you see? Well, technically, for certain things. And they got caught because the kid went and reported them. I mean, that would have never happened in my day. But they were caught in there. I think they were both jailed. Not too sure how much for. But just Google Leicester BBC swingers. And just let your hair curl. Honestly, just let your hair curl. So thank you for everyone that was here this evening. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions. Please check. But most of all, your indulgence. My name's Adrian Allen, and I'll see you Wednesday, 8 p.m. 2000 hours if you're in the military.